Welcome to Triple Option Radio. I'm Matt Sullivan alongside Rhett Prentice, Jack Abbott. We are doing a recap of the AFC Divisional games. Broncos getting dominated by the Pats and the Ravens pulling out a close one against the Texans. Guys, what were your initial thoughts on the Broncos-Pats game from Saturday?
Well, you guys were there, so I'll let you talk more at length. But what I saw is a Patriots team that fully outclassed that Broncos team. And any magic Tim Tebow had, I think we all kind of knew was expended against the Steelers. Belichick and the Patriots were ready, and they brought it, which I thought was going to happen. And that game was over midway through the second quarter.
Yeah.
The Patriots did exactly what you have to do against the Broncos and Tim Tebow, is that you have to beat them off the wall and get ahead of them early. Because if you let Tebow hang around, he's always got that chance that he can bring it back. The first drive of the game, they drove downfield, scored a touchdown to Welker. I mean, from there, it was just a rout. And that's what you have to do. They showed up, they did their job, and, people are saying that the Broncos are not a great team and it's not a great victory. I think it says more about what the Patriots can do when they do it right. I think it shows that when they execute their game plan, they can beat up on anyone.
Yeah, my initial thoughts on this game was that Broncos had no idea about this game scheme Belichick put together. I mean, you had Aaron Hernandez in the backfield running at the beginning of the game.
I was thinking,
They had no huddle going, and Broncos couldn't even get set. They couldn't get anything straight, and before they knew it, they were down, 3-4 touchdowns. So initially, the Tim Tebow Magic didn't even have a shot in this one, just because Pats had all the confidence, and I've never seen Gillette Stadium more amped up for a game than they were that. We didn't sit down once. It was just screaming the whole time, real loud, and hell of a game.
There were people came out and said that the fans weren't that loud, and I mentioned something to that, but I think just clapping with gloves has a different effect than clapping with your hands. It was about 5 degrees. It was cold. It was dark. But like Sully said, the crowd was rocking.
No, it was definitely a good atmosphere, and hopefully they'll take that energy into the next game versus the Ravens.
Yeah,
but
I saw a lot of the Pats defense really impressed me. I mean, especially on the D line. Vince Wilfork and who was the other D lineman?
Dederick, Kyle Love.
Yeah.
Ninkovich had a great game.
Rod Ninkovich, he really.
Ellis.
Yeah. Ninkovich played one of the best games he's played all season.
I would say he was the defensive MVP. I mean, he forced that fumble early. He was the guy who was shutting down the option.
Yeah.
He was there right on time. He forced the issue.
I read an interesting thing about comparing him to Vrabel during the Pats' first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel. Obviously, they're outside linebackers and they're similar body types. But Vrabel was just a guy that really excelled in the system. And that's kind of what Ninkovich has showed, is that he's not a stud. He just does things right, and that makes you a better player. And he's really taking care of his responsibilities. He stepped up, and I read you that stat last week about having sacks and picks, and he's just quietly had a really great year for this defense. And that's what really keeps them going, is games like that from guys along the way.
I agree. Well, let's take a look at the second game, or the second AFC game from Sunday's matchup. Texans-Ravens. Texans just full of mistakes, starting with Jones in the first and the punt return, fumbling it. I mean, that did it for me. When I saw that, I said Texans don't have a shot in this game. But they clearly did it the last couple drives. They were TJ Yates messing up. But guys, what were your first initial thoughts on this one?
Well, the Texans played a lot like I thought they were going to play. I mean, I was amazed after that first quarter. They held the Ravens off the board until late in the fourth, and they really outplayed them for most of the game after that. But problem is, when you have a rookie quarterback making only his 6th or 7th start of the year, that was the difference. Those 2 picks he threw in the fourth quarter were both just bad decisions. You shouldn't have thrown those balls.
He had to go moving at that point, though. I mean, the last one.
Yeah, but the last drive they were moving the ball, and there was time. I think he had just made up his mind. I'm going to take a shot to Andre Johnson, because you see even he tried to look off Ed Reed and go the other way, and then the last second turn and throw, but Ed Reed was having none of it.
Reed didn't believe that for 1 second. Like, he read that thing the whole way. And TJ Yates, he made up his mind before so many of those passes. He was either going...
which is kind of a shame, because they could move the ball. I mean, Arian Foster became the first running back ever to have more than 100 yards against the Ravens defense in a playoff game. Now, they won 16 games without allowing that to happen. I mean, that's against guys like Eddie George and...
For me, that's the one thing I take away from this game, is that Arian Foster is good.
Yeah.
I've never really watched him before, but he is phenomenal.
And O-line was good. And the Texans defense.
No. The O-line was good too, and then the Texans defense really stepped up. You and I were talking during the game. You said, who would you be more afraid for the Patriots to face? Look at this Texans.
Especially on defensive wise. Like, that Texans defense, they were firing. That D-line was excellent. And they'll be back,
Yeah.
No, I think number 2 on that list that I take away from the game is that the Ravens' offense is really out of sync right now.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no, I agree. Flacco had a rough
That's
game.
about it. What do you want to say? It's nothing more than that.
But, they were playing, they were also playing a defensive team that was playing lights out ball. And, I think while the numbers didn't look great for the for the Ravens offense, especially Ray Rice and Flacco putting up pedestrian numbers, they didn't turn the ball over, and they didn't commit a single penny.
Yeah.
No, and that was the difference. That can win a Super Bowl. Holding on the ball and good big plays on defense. But, when you come into Gillette this week, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a different game. This is a team that can score against the Ravens. More than the Texans can. It's going to be different, but I don't know. Ed Reed came out with those comments today about everyone on the team, and people are kind of picking the Joe Flacco part of it out, but he criticized everyone, O-line and quarterback and coaching, and that's an interesting stance. Who's going to second guess Ed Reed? But I don't know why you do that on a Wednesday going into the AFC Championship.
Well, yeah, I think he probably felt that. For much of that game, it looked like the Texans wanted it more.
Right.
I agree.
But they just lost out. Their inexperience lost out to a very veteran, savvy Ravens team, that's got some great leadership on that.
One play that
and was able to make plays when it mattered,
Yeah. One play that I really, saw the drive and determination of the Texans was that I think it was 3rd and 8 where Arian Foster made this ridiculous one-hand grab.
Oh my God,
that play. I thought the Texans were going to win after I saw that, but TJ Yates really screwed this one up for them. So Ravens move on, and it's going to be a great matchup versus the Pats this upcoming weekend. But guys, we're going to talk about the predictions coming up in the next couple of videos. Everyone, thanks for listening in. Check us out, more content, more videos, more blogs coming to tripleoptionradio.com, and leave us comments and new topics to talk about. So thanks for checking in.